Welcome back, everyone. May 16th kicks off a 4-day celebration commemorating Briggs versus Elliott, 70 years, the pioneer case that ended segregation in schools. Brown versus Board of Education was the overall name of it, but it truly started with Briggs versus Elliott right out of Clarendon County. I'm still joined by the organizers of those events. They have a jam-packed week for you guys, and I'm so excited about everything that they're offering to you to continue to learn more about Briggs versus Elliott. So please welcome yet again Reverend Dr. Nelson Rivers, Ms. Sandra Williams, and Mr. Moses Levy. Thank you each for being here with us. I want to start with the celebration on May 16th. Just walk us through what's going to be happening. I know there's going to be some historic tours that people will be able to participate in.
Okay, so we'll start off on May 16th. We'll have our kickoff celebration at 10 a.m. from 10 a.m. to about 10:30, and then we'll have tour buses lined up to take individuals out to see the landmark sites in Clarendon County, some of the historical markers and that type stuff, and then also Mr. Cecil Williams will also have some artifacts there that they can view and tour at the school. So that pretty much wraps up that day. On that Friday, we will start on May 17th. We will start with the honorary 9-mile walk, and that will be sponsored by Attorney Mulligan from Camden. And so we will start walking from the Pearson's homestead and then in at Scotch Branch School.
The significance of the 9-mile walk?
Because the children of Levi Pearson had to walk 9 miles to school. To school and back home each day, and so that's the significance of it.
So people really get to a real life experience of what that was like on a hot day too, because one of the things we mentioned was it didn't matter what the weather was like. It was icy cold or it was hot. You still had to walk to school, no excuses. Also, with that 9-mile walk, there's going to be a Jazz in the Park event as well.
Right, that afternoon, a very relaxing Jazz in the Park. It will start at 4 o'clock from 4 to 8, and so we're asking everyone to come out, bring your lawn chairs. There'll be food trucks there, and so just relax and enjoy yourself.
Okay, and then Saturday, there's going to be a parade, a community festival, and a commemorative black tie gala. Dr. Rivers, tell us more about those events.
Well, it's going to be part of the whole weekend, but that night, the family of Levi Pearson started the foundation have asked me, of all people, to speak that night. So I'll be bringing the message on that night, that Saturday. In preparation for that, we're doing on the 16th in North Charleston at my church, along with the Thurgood Marshall Trust Fund, the movie Separate But Equal, that was filmed in Charleston in 1991 about Briggs v. Elliott and about Brown. And the star is Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, Sidney Poitier.
And they let me have a small part in the same scene with Sidney Poitier. But the most important thing is the visual that tells folk what it was like. So the folk that you hear us talk about come to life on that screen. And Sidney Poitier was so impressed with them and their courage, he came back to do a separate event just for them, the living petitioners and the living descendants, and in the Charleston Nice Hotel in 1991, just because of the impact the story had on him. But for us and this, we need this weekend. It's 70 years. I'm 73. That means all my life has been connected to this. I was 10 years as a state director of the NACP. That's when I got to meet the descendants of Mr. Pearson, had the chance to sit at the table with Mr. Briggs and Mrs. Briggs and Miss Gibson and others and Miss Parks and those folk from down there. Had time at Liberty Hill AME Church. The church is critical. Reverend Delane has never gotten the recognition for the courageous example he set for black church leaders. Before there was a Dr. King, there was a J.A. Delane. Before there was an Abernathy, there was a J.A. Delane. And those and others in that community who stood strong. So we want to be able to have people see the movie. It's at 6 o'clock at Charity Missionary Baptist Church. Then in Somerton. This happened in Somerton, South Carolina, originally called Summertown, as my research told me. Now, you look at who was involved. What did they have to defend themselves? The Word of God and their faith and their courage. That's it. The police weren't going to defend them. In fact, Reverend Delane used his gun in self-defense, and they charged him. Because he was trying to save himself. He left the state and never was able to come back. as an AME preacher, just anyone. So this weekend, and then on Sunday, they conclude with this powerful worship service at Liberty Hill AME Church. So all of these are designed to make folk not just remember, but to learn. Most of our folk, as you said, I used to be frustrated. I realized that a lot of folk just don't know about almost anything, unless it happens right now. But we need to have, and so we're inviting children from all over South Carolina. School districts, especially school board members, they need to come to Summerton. They need to come down to North Charleston to see this movie. They need to be there. Why is that important? Because history will repeat itself unless you understand what it was. And so the lesson has to be learned.
And Dr. Rivers, I'm so happy that you mentioned that, you know, before Dr. King, it was Reverend Delane, and what was happening in the small town of Summerton. That was the theme of our Black History Month special, that it started here. The civil rights movement really started in South Carolina, and Briggs versus Elliott, one of those first cases. Mr. Levy, why is it so important to you as a Clarendon County native as well to be a part of bringing attention to the Briggs versus Elliott celebration and making sure that there are people that are in our hometown that are coming out to participate as well?
It is so important to me because I still realize that there are people in Clarendon County and South Carolina who do not realize the impact of this landmark case. There are still people in Clarendon County, young, old, black, and white, who do not know about Briggs versus Elliott, who do not know about Pearson versus the County Board of Education. This would give us an opportunity for them to see firsthand and to hear firsthand some of the things that went on, and also meet some of the individuals who are still playing integral part in this struggle in order to make things better for people of goodwill throughout Clarendon County, throughout South Carolina, and throughout these United States.
We're going to pause right there. When we return, we're going to wrap up our conversation celebrating Briggs versus Elliott 70 years later. We'll be right back.